Shoes versus flip-flops.
Let's debate. Alright, welcome to the next rendition of Top Notch Talks. Today we are going to be debating shoes versus flip-flops. And like we did before, we are going to be tossing a coin to see who has to argue each side. We don't know if we're going to be arguing shoes or flip-flops. It'll be determined by the flip of a coin, and then we'll go from there.
I also want to point out, I want to exclude sandals from this discussion because sandals and flip-flops are not the same thing.
No, they're not.
And
They're not.
sometimes you'll see someone wearing flip-flops and your friend will say, oh, look at that guy wearing sandals.
Wince.
Not sandals.
Not sandals.
No, sandals, that's what like 70-year-old men wear with black socks.
Oh,
okay, that's
Don't be dissing sandals. there's some good sandals.
Separate discussion.
Different day.
So again, we have a quarter here. Heads for shoes, tails for flip-flops.
And I'll be whatever it comes up.
Yeah, alright. What did we say? Heads for shoes?
Heads for shoes.
Okay. Tails, alright, you got the
I
flops.
got flops.
You got the flops. Alright.
I'll take the floor.
Alright, yeah, you got it. Go for it.
Alright, first off, I'm going to acknowledge that flip-flops have their shortcomings. You can't argue that they're the best work shoe. You can't argue that they're the best running shoe. But what they do give you is an unparalleled freedom. Unrivaled freedom. First off, breathing. Your feet can breathe. I know that's a commonly used and maybe incorrect term for it, but you can see your feet. Your feet can see the world. If it's comfortable outside, temperature-wise, your feet will run free. Second, odor. You're not going to have any foot odor. Compared to a shoe, it doesn't just trap everything and let it stew about. You just have your feet. Third, you can always kick them off and like run straight into the water without having to worry about getting your shoes wet or perhaps losing it in the ocean or wherever you're running into. I can always run faster barefoot than in shoes, so truly I'm at a greater advantage from my opponent running barefoot. And it trains your feet because you're taking your flip-flops off so much that you build calluses so you can just walk barefoot in any environment, which is a true advantage to the shoe world. And I'll stop there.
I'm not gonna do a direct rebuttal.
All right.
I'm just gonna kind of go into my argument and let it rebut upon your argument.
On its own.
I'm just gonna keep using that word.
Rebut.
That's a thing.
Now it is.
Shoes. Shoes are clothing, basically. And as clothing, they represent style. They represent part of you. And there is a plethora of shoe options out there. What can you get with flip-flops? You can go to a store and get those crappy little $1, a rainbow of colors, that's fine. But you can't get Jordans. You can't get, skate shoes, get some nice Vans. No sponsors here. There's some quality shoes out there. And as far as running goes, you might be able to go faster without shoes on, but only on a level surface, and only if there's no debris in the way. You add a stick, you step on a stick barefoot, you're done. You're out of the race. That bear is going to catch you, and he's going to eat you alive.
We're running from bears now.
Well, what else would you be running from? I'm not going to eat you alive. Secondly, the running is irrelevant for us because I'm not running fast. There's no instance where me running is going to be like, oh wow, look at that kid go. Yeah, that's a mute point. Secondly, you're not wearing socks with flip-flops, and that's a whole nother level of style. Fun socks are fun, and it's in the word, because I made the word. What else can we go for here? I made the point that, protection is a huge thing. And, sure, your feet can breathe, but if we're going there, then your feet are alive. And you need to maintain the health of your feet. Shoes are going to do that much better. If if someone drops a knife onto a shoe, it's likely not going to penetrate straight down into you. Someone drops a knife on your foot, that can go south very quickly. Pun intended. Awful pun intended. Yeah, I'll let you come back at me.
All right. First, I'm gonna diss your whole sock style argument here, because frankly, yes, socks is a whole world of fashion.
Yes, it is, and don't call me Frank.
But most days, though, socks are a chore. Finding matching socks. Do I have to? Like, where's the other one? It's just tedious. You're alleviated of that burden.
Some people don't match socks.
No, I mean, some people do it intentionally mismatched as a style choice. Whatever. Frankly, I just see I see socks as a chore, something I don't want to have to deal with. And if you're in the business of dropping knives on your feet, there are many shoes that won't help you much at all. Because, like, really, if you don't have the wherewithal to move your foot, that's your own.
You're not constantly prepared for a knife to drop on your foot, though. Some of us are. I am in a constant state of preparedness.
But, like, you're talking boots. That's the one that has the level of protection.
That's an excellent point. So can we move into what we really believe?
I have one last argument.
Go for it.
Healthier foot, vitamin D deficiency. If you're wearing shoes, they don't get any sun. If you're wearing flops, they get some sun.
That's an excellent point. No, well, okay, that would depend on your ethnicity.
They still get sun.
Yeah, but I mean, people of really pale people of like Irish descent, they need a lot more for.
That's true.
Or is it a lot less?
Well, they react.
Regardless,
we're not dermatologists.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, we can get into our opinions now.
So, are you going shoes or flops?
I like a fine balance. I love flops in the summertime, but outside of that, it's unrealistic.
All right, we'll key you guys in. The reason we were so excited for this is I am 100% a flop man.
He got shoes.
I wear flops literally 95% of the year.
And we live in Ohio. It's cold. Like, it's cold outside in March, and he wears flops. There's snow on the ground. Flops.
I always wear flops. And there's a two-pronged reason for that. Number one, I have incredibly warm feet. I am constantly. It's disgusting.
It's a gift.
It's just it's not something that a normal person would be willing to discuss. But we're sitting here in my apartment currently. The heat is not on, and it's March. It says it's 82, but it's not that hot in here. My feet are sweating under the table right now. I can feel it on my feet. My feet are currently wet.
Anxiety from the intense debate.
Could very well be, but regardless of that, I'm flopped. Secondly, you don't even need shoes. Ever. You need flops and you need boots. Because if there's ever a situation where shoes trump flops, boots would trump shoes in that situation.
I disagree.
Except for running.
Yep, that was my point.
Running, you need shoes, and for that they make running shoes.
Well, lab environments.
You can wear boots. And they would be...
Lifting.
You can get steel-toed boots.
Like working out of the gym, lifting?
I mean,
Does that fall in the running category?
The United States Army wears boots when they do their entire workout.
Yeah, they also wear bulletproof vests and 50-pound backpacks.
If they're able to train and get to the level of fitness and, I dare say, magnificent...
You dare don't say.
I dare don't say. The high quality, of them as people, they acquire that through boots. And other than running, but I mean, under what situation are you running in a current day?
Millions of athletes. Like,
okay, no, I'm talking to you.
To me?
To you.
I told you I'm trading for that half Ironman. I bought those shoes. Like those nice blue ones.
Well, okay, so you can get running shoes to run, but I'm
you
saying
want to bike in boots.
I'm just saying, I bike in flops.
Yeah.
Or barefoot. If I'm wearing flops and I get on a bike, I'll probably just take them off and carry them and do it barefoot because
as long as you don't have like a pointy plastic pedal.
Well, even if you do, build some character. That's what makes the man.
Bloody footholes is character.
Bloody footholes.
I agree. I largely agree. They shred. I largely agree with flip-flops argument that you're making. But there is room in the world for shoes, where boots would be cumbersome. But
I mean, I'll agree with that. I wouldn't take it as far as the workplace, though. You can make boots work in a workplace.
you can. I mean, there's multitudes of boots, from heavy duty to relatively low key. Like, they've got cloth boots, they've got leather boots, steel toed. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, I will bring up. Is it illegal to drive in flip flops?
No.
Okay.
It's
or is it just frowned
It's a
upon?
common misconception. They discourage it for both flip flops and barefoot, but it's perfectly legal, from what I understand, in where we live, because that's the
Don't
only
hold
one
us
I've
to
looked
that.
into. Yeah.
Don't hold us responsible yet. Yeah, we have no idea what we're talking about.
And while it's legal, I prefer to drive any long distances with a shoe on. That's another thing.
Now, I will say, I would refuse to drive in boots. The sole is so thick, not being able to feel the pedal, that would bother me. That would bother me.
You kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was hiking a lot last summer and pretty much exclusively wore boots. But when I was done, I would take them off and drive barefoot, come to think of it, because I was tired.
Yeah. Cumbersome.
Yeah, cumbersome indeed.
Anything else to say about flops? I was so excited to be doing an argument on flops, and then I had to argue against them.
I couldn't contain my excitement.
Which is kind of why I didn't do a rebuttal, because I had nothing to say. I was like, everything you just said is exactly correct. Yeah.
This definitely brings to light the merit of the coin toss.
I will say, though, and I brought this up as a con of flip-flops, but it's definitely a plus, being able to go out and buy a dollar pair of flip-flops in a rainbow of colors.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a major plus, because shoes are expensive.
They're often overpriced.
Comparatively.
Like you pay $400 for a pair of Jordans. My coworker was telling me this. Her friend paid $400 for a pair of Jordans, and like the very next day got them like scuffed, like torn.
Yeah,
and it's just you get price per ounce of shoe.
I could never spend that much money on a shoe.
No,
I have like $30 tennis shoes.
Yeah,
and I have legitimate shoes for the sport of tennis that cost maybe $80 or $90. I think that's the most I've ever spent on a pair of shoes.
Boots couldn't do that.
No, boots could not do that. I have played barefoot, but that's also not a good idea.
Yeah.
And flops are an even worse idea.
You can't really change direction sideways in flops too well.
Also, you brought this up as a point for flip-flops. Easy to get on, easy to kick off. And I like to point out, you can legitimately kick them off of your feet. And that's a plus.
They're weapons.
If you have an assailant coming at you, you take off your shoes, you're able to run faster. That's a fact of life.
Or at least you feel like you're running faster.
Yeah, if you're barefoot, you're going to be able to move, with more agility. But if you're able to take off your shoes and simultaneously kick them at a person, that's a major plus. That's a major plus.
Disoriented.
I always keep knives strapped to the bottom of my flip-flops.
Yeah, okay.
For that exact reason.
That is a lie. I could go and grab them right now, and they're perfectly flat. No knife. Whatever. But
it's true 50% of the time.
To stretch this whole weapon thing, it may seem like I'm reaching here, but I genuinely have used flip-flops as fly swatters.
Yeah. That's a nice little point. Now, you can use a shoe, too, I guess.
You can, but it restrains your visibility, and you could get more of like a whip notion.
Oh, yeah. The whip smack. Yep. That was planned.
That was, whole video. Whole lives built to that moment. Culminated.
Alright,
I don't know what else there is to say that we haven't said already.
I guess I'll take the final word on this. We're gonna, I'm gonna push forward. I'm gonna write my congressman, instituted Jason Pelfrey, statement of footwear to the United States of America. Flops and boots. That's all you need. And they are called flops, not flip-flops.
Some prefer mandals, either in an attempt to be derogatory.
Oh, we didn't even go there. Are sandals and flip-flops the same thing?
No.
Because they're not.
No.
Oh, yeah, we did go there at the very beginning.
You introduced them at the very beginning,
never mind.
But they are very different.
They are very different.
Like, you could be far more athletic in a sandal than in a flip-flop.
Just because it loops around you more than once.
It's got more.
It's not held in
more
by
security.
It's not held in by toe strength.
Right, but they sell like hiking sandals. You just flip your feet in, and then they're good to walk through water in. They dry out really fast, and they have more protection on the back. A lot of people that work in, I don't know. I lost my.
Now I do have hiking flops, and I have fisherman's flops.
Hiking flops?
Yeah, it's just a tougher sole.
Oh.
And then I have fisherman's flops, which are cork. So if you
ones.
drop them in water, it'll float. I don't know if it's called fisherman's flip flops. That's the way it was marketed when I bought it. With that intent.
You are the expert here.
Yeah, apparently.
My favorite pair of flip flops died last summer.
Ugh.
Got stuck in mud, and I pulled up and.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's like losing a brother.
It is. They lasted me a long time, 3 years. Okay.
All right. Well, this is a good place to end it.
Yep. On that note.
Yep. Leave your opinions in the comments. Let us know what you think. Give us ideas for future videos. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe. We'll put a link where I'm pointing. So yeah, you want to close it out? Close it out.
As always, thank you for watching Top Notch Talks. Skiddly-dee.